It is Tuesday, the 9th of August, and I am recording this on the 24th of July because I recently, as I told you in the last video, I recently found out that I couldn't be in class the first 2 days because of some extenuating circumstances. So I wanted to create these videos. And so this is day 2 of creative and critical inquiry. And this is a dual credit class from the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe. So if you weren't here yesterday, or if you were here yesterday, I'm going to go over what I talked about and look at my notes. And what I talked about yesterday is I told you we're going to have a quiz over parts of the information that I gave you yesterday. And so I look forward to seeing the results of that when I get back tomorrow. And then I also did a self-introduction, told you a little bit about my summer and hope that you had a good summer as well. And then I talked about my education. I talked about the institutions that I teach for, the educational institutions, the Institute in Santa Fe and Eastern New Mexico University. I talked about my children, and I talked about travel and the travel that I've done with students here in Mescalero, the trip we're taking next year to Japan, and lots of travel that I've done and study abroad that I have done. And I believe that travel is just a very important part of our education and opening up our minds and our brains to new ideas and new cultures and expanding our worldview. So then I went on and I talked about dual credit. I told you that there was going to be a meeting for your parents and you, dual credit meeting that I'm not sure when it's going to be. We'll find out and I'll let you know when I get back tomorrow. And told you about the benefits, told you about the availability. That's so great for you guys. If you get up in the middle of the night, you can't sleep, an assignment due, you can do it at home and submit it at home and get it in on time. So there's a lot of advantages to your dual credit classes and your independence and launching you into a career, hopefully a career, getting a college degree, which is relatively easy to do. It sounds like a big task, but it's an easy thing to do. So I went over the syllabus with you and I tested you a little bit on the syllabus and my classroom expectations. And two of them that I really want to focus on is the use of cell phones in the classroom. We do use it sometimes in the classroom for assignments, and I am not a fan of cell phones because as I said yesterday, they are very distracting for focus. You cannot focus and be on your phone and be looking at text messages. It just doesn't happen. You may think you can, but it doesn't work. The brain can't do that, and it makes for a compromised educational environment. So we're going to really work on that this semester, on keeping those phones at a minimum in the classroom, and especially socially. Just not going to do it. And then I talked to you a little bit about deadlines, that if you've had classes with me before, I've been in the past like kind of loose with deadlines, and I'm not going to be that way anymore. I feel like that, and as I shared yesterday, that scarcity of time or knowing how much time you have tends to make you work harder. And I think that we need to assume that and take that position this semester. So today what I want to do is I'm taking you just a brief look at the modules, what your Canvas course is going to look like. Once you fill out the paperwork and get all your stuff done, then all that paperwork, and they give you your credentials to get in, your username and password to get into Canvas. I'm going to show you what that looks like on the other side, just very briefly. And then I'm going to share with you a couple of videos that are from the Institute in Santa Fe. I want to orient you to the school that you're taking your courses from. So let's get on with that right now. And I need to share my screen, and hopefully I have this ready, and I don't think I have that image ready to go yet. So let me get that ready to go. And we're going to look at the modules. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, there's that. And we'll go here. Now I'm going to share my screen. Now this image, I'm going to show you this screen that I'm going to show you now in my sharing is kind of what your experience will be when you get your username and password and you get into Canvas. You're going to get very familiar with the Canvas environment. So this is my view. These are the classes I teach at the Institute. And this is your class here. And it's called the IAIA Experience, Libs 103.05, Fall 2022. So we're going to click on that. And it opens up your world. Yours is going to look a little different than this, but you're going to have some stuff that the school puts up. And then you're going to go into modules. And these are the modules. There's the modules here that are kind of informational. This is a module, and it contains all these links. And that's the way the course is set up. And so you've got your syllabus reading and responding, which you will have done by the time we get into this module. And then you're going to do 1A. I have two 1As, but I have that for a reason. And we're going to learn a little bit about IAIA today in some videos, and then you're going to have a response afterwards that you're going to do after my video is over today. This is your course textbook, which we'll look at more fully at the end of the week. There's some exercises to do. And then this right here, every week you'll have an attendance and participation grade. And it looks like very few points, but it's a very significant grade because it has to do with how often you're there, and it has to do with how much you participate in classroom conversations, very important. And it has to do with your respect to other students and to me, which I don't normally have a problem with, but phones will be a part of that participation grade. The adherence to my wishes that we focus on what we're doing for that brief period of time that we're together 4 days a week, and let's set the phones aside and recognize that they are a distraction and they're hurting our education. So that is kind of an introductory video, introductory module, I'm sorry. And then we're going to go into goal setting, motivation, organization, and all of these different modules line up with, look back up here, your course textbook, which is right here. There's a link to your course textbook, your online course textbook. And we talked a little bit about that yesterday, I believe, and it lines up with what we're doing in class. And so when we go into the semester, you'll find that it lines up with that textbook pretty much like we talked about yesterday. And then you have a place here, and it doesn't look exactly like this, but you'll have a place where on a very regular basis, you're going to be able to check your grades and say, okay, Lane, I did that assignment and I don't see it up here. And I'll say, well, this is what was missing, or thank you for telling me that. So there's this place with the grades where you can always go in there and you can share it with your parents. You need to share it with your parents. Okay, so that is something that's important. So this is kind of, I just wanted to kind of show you what these modules look like. As you go through the semester, they'll be opened. Like this particular, the modules are not open yet. If you were to get in the class right now, you couldn't see them because I don't have them open. And normally I only keep 2 or 3 open at a time. And when the deadline is over, I'll shut down the module, and then there's no going back to it unless you have some really good reason. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you some videos from the Institute, and And then what I want you to do is to be apprised that these videos that I'm sharing with you need to be you need to pay attention to them, because they're the content in the videos is applicable to what we're doing, because you're taking a class from this school. The students that you see in these videos are also taking the same class. And I want you to be exposed to the high level of academics that is available to you in Santa Fe. And we're going to talk more about that, but I'm going to give you a couple of introductory videos, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk for a minute, and then you're going to have an assignment to do. So I'm going to, right now, I'm going to unshare my screen for a moment, and I'm going to turn off my image. And that is an actual photograph I took of a pet snail that I have. And I'm going to now, let's look at this. All right, we're gonna watch a few videos here from the Institute.
This is my pendant light.
That's the wrong one.
Santa Fe, New Mexico is the location of the Institute of American Indian Arts, or IAIA. It is a unique college that was founded in 1963. Its focus on Indigenous stories, history, and future of Indigenous people by Indigenous people of North America. The entire city pays homage to Indigenous arts and history at every turn. Students come from approximately 90 different Indigenous nations throughout North America, but also welcome students from places like Japan. Felipe Colon, who is the Dean of IAIA, arranged for our personal tour on December 6th, 2021. Anthony Dieter from Pipikasis Cree Nation is the professor of media arts. He is the only Indigenous expert in the fields of CGI animation, motion capture, and digital media in the US at IAIA. His students are recruited by companies such as Disney, Pixar, and NBC. This college also offers HighFlex online courses, hybrid classes, and has potential for online high school courses. Other courses such as creative writing, script writing, gaming, and many more are available at IAIA.
We're at a good place in our nation right now for us to explore possibilities, which maybe weren't there before. And then I encouraged her to come down for a tour when she had a chance. Of course, COVID complicating everything. I said, well, I'll get her down and we'll get a tour and then we can talk and then I'll introduce you to the dean, and here we are. So, thank you.
Yeah, we share the same, of course. Higher education in general has been on sort of a steady trend for increasing virtual and distance learning. But of course, the pandemic has greatly accelerated that. And I'm sure, as Anthony shared, we're somewhat fortunate as an institution that we've actually been doing distance learning for over a decade. So we have a number of certificate programs and quite a few classes, especially within our museum studies, art history, gen ed courses that have been developed over the years to be online. But of course, in spring 2020, we basically had to make the change to everything online. We're really fortunate, again, because really of our history as an institution with our delivery of distance learning, that we've been given a particularly unique amount of leeway, as you could say, by the Higher Learning Commission, which is our primary accreditation body, to deliver basically anything and everything that we think we can do online in an online format, not just during the pandemic, but in perpetuity. And so what we're really examining as an institution now is what do we want to do? What do we feel is possible to do? And where can we sort of take from the lessons of the last decade, and in particular in this instance from the models of some of our graduate programs, to potentially develop what we might consider to be in the future things like low residency, BFA, AFA certificate programs, the greatest freedom for our students to keep their connections with their home place and with their families, with their communities, with their cultures, We don't want to replicate sort of the systems of the past where it was all about, in order to get an education, you had to leave home. And you had to sort of make that really what oftentimes amounted to be sort of a permanent break with your community and your culture. We don't want to be a place that perpetuates that. We want to be a place that instead keeps our students very much connected to their community, to their culture, keeps them thinking about how what they learn here with us and the skills and the education they develop can actually be of direct benefit to their communities. So we're kind of, although the pandemic's been incredibly hard in many ways, it's really spurred HLC, it's spurred us to some degree to say, okay, let's really examine who we are as an institution, what our values are, and what we intend to do with what we're teaching, and how that benefits an Indigenous community, and how do we now reshape our curriculum, our delivery, even our whole structure as an institution to really not just sort of pay lip service to that, but to really put it into practice. Professor Dieter has been incredibly instrumental in helping to build up our cinematic arts, gaming, digital arts program to be able to do really immersive, incredibly interactive online and what we're calling now high flex, so a mix of in-person online learning. It's really setting the stage not only, of course, for what we do as an institution, but really serving as a model for what potentially other institutions, Indigenous or not, can do. And we're really sort of, myself, our president, Dr. Martin, our board, are really excited at the prospect that, the future of higher education may be informed by the structures and the values of Indigenous people. That, in this era where the rest of the world is starting to look back towards their community, giving to their community, being a part of their community, and not necessarily building a life that is apart from their home, their culture, that we're really the people. Indigenous people are the people to really showcase that. Because it's a thing we've been struggling for 2 centuries now. It's an exciting time in many ways. So we're really looking forward to seeing how communities also come to us and say, this is what we need, and this is really what we'd like. Lining up potentially in the future, even our semesters with things like the community, annual calendars and schedules, that 17 weeks. So how do we as an institution also build our classes in a way that allows the students that cultural continuity and connection throughout the year? There's a lot of that we are kind of on the verge of really evaluating and designing into what we do. We tend to be both sort of the substance and the flash. When we go into something, we go into it wholeheartely. We go into it, eyes open that, we understand the way that things need to be presented, the way that things need to be showcased in order to ensure that, if those funders are happy, we're happy, the students are happy, the community is happy, it's part of a whole package. We try to sort of look back at the lessons of our ancestors and say, if we're not building it out for multiple generations in the future, we're not putting enough time, effort, and work into it. It needs to be something that is sustainable and something that continues to evolve. It needs to be something that actually has long-term, thought-through benefits. So.
And I brought that up in the dome when I was saying, since I've been here, I haven't seen industry meet our school at quite the pace it is now. It's amazing who's here.
Yeah.
I was talking about Pixar last week, and R.R. Martin's got a scholarship here. There's some incredible opportunities for these students here.
We, of course, have been the leader in contemporary art and art education for almost 60 years now, but especially in the turn of the 21st century, we've seen a lot of other institutions get very involved in it. And I believe Yadi's in particular she developed this actually for an exhibition at NMAI, I think it was in 2005, 2006, one of their premier exhibitions. First time that Smithsonian National Museum had ever done a truly contemporary art form show. And it was her, and I think we probably had close to 10 other students from our programs here that contributed to that same show. It's really about finding the ways, as we do in sort of contemporary life, to express our culture, our history, our trauma, our pride, all of those things in a medium that speaks to the contemporary people that we are. And certainly, again, being Pueblo, we kind of have this persona out in the world about, the traditionality of our communities and, how the dances are done the same time of year as they have been for 1,000 years, how the communities look the same, the languages are preserved. But you know, we and certainly the governors in my tribe have always really been forward-looking as well. So that's great. We're going to preserve the past, but we're also going to find a way to perpetuate it. And in order to perpetuate your culture and your history, you have to be able to relate it to your contemporary life. You have to be able to, you know, design your contemporary life in a way that is respectful and honoring and continuing a tradition, but also taking in all of those other things, which was common to our ancestors too.
Yeah. And it's a good time for our people to be looking at this now. I think they're ready. I think the youth out there are ready for something different.
Mm-hmm. And we always like to think, you know, not just different, but, you know, a place where they will be welcomed on their own terms. So we're not asking them to become somebody else when they step on campus, but instead to, you know, find a way to celebrate who they are through the things that they learn here, and to take those things back to their community, take those lessons, become those future leaders in art, in culture, in history, and through that help to, again, perpetuate the indigenous cultures and the life. The last few years in particular, IAIA Indian Market has been sort of a mix of virtual and in-person, but you know, this year I think they're planning for pretty much
Be in person.
They're going for in-person all out, so it'd be an amazing time to be here. And we'll actually be in session also by that point in the semester. So if you'd like to sit in on a class, you know, a virtual class, an in-person class, you know, we'd be happy to welcome you in for that as well.
For more information, go to iaia.edu.
Okay, let me unshare my screen for just a moment and turn on my video. I'm going to share with you one more video, and then I'm going to conclude our video session for today. I'm trying to find the one I really wanted you to see. This is an open house. I'm trying to see how long it is here. This one is the open house. Let me just share with you for just a second. The open house is what I do in the fall of this year, and I think it's in October sometime, where I take a group of students up to the Institute and you can actually experience. We spend the night up there, as I shared. I think I shared that yesterday with you. And I take a select group of students, maybe, I think last year we took 12. And there has to be some level of commitment to the idea of going to the Institute. You know, not necessarily, you don't have to write anything, make some contract, but some kind of an idea that this might be something I'd be interested in. I think this is the video I wanted you to see here.
Check out this verbo. Look at me, girl.
Oh, this is a very long video. I'm going to just play this for a second, and I want you to see this. And hopefully we'll see some views of the campus in here. All right. Well, this is a view, kind of an aerial view. I think this is from, if you look over on the right, that is the area where the printmaking, the painting studios, the drawing studios are. In the center here, I've been there a couple of times with students when they had a lot of dances and going on with different tribes throughout the state. And over on the right, on the right is where the art classes and the art studios are. On the left is over in the buildings with the reddish kind of building on the left. That's where the library is, and the administrative offices, the bookstore, and the cafeteria. Let me see where else. And then toward the middle, over, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but right next to the reddish building on the left, there is there's some buildings there. Those are dormitories. And then if you moved over a little bit more to the right, there's a lot of gardens in there. And a lot of the the vegetables that come from the garden are used in the cafeteria. They try to use a lot of sustainable things. They buy locally, and they use a lot of organic food. And the food is fantastic. So let me move this forward just a little bit. This would be, this is in that building on the right that I showed you. And it would be some of the studio rooms. Move it over just a little bit. This is a very long video.
Keep everybody safe.
Like 4 hours long.
Restore our parents. And I did not tell my aunt that colonization killed my
coverage, and the cameras we were using are
much more of a look at the pragmatic aspects of art production. What are the laws that protect Native artists, for example? There's the Indian Arts and Crafts Act, which states that art that
And when you go, if you go on this trip that we take, there is a part of it where there's a digital dome where you sit in a room, and it's quite an interesting experience. Very this is a short video. I want you to see this. Many of our students at
one simple but brilliant
trick
to cool your home in 90 seconds. Tired of hot and stuff?
We're making these accessible. This collection accessible. Start looking at it on the outpage. It's not unlike
The Institute of American Indian Arts is an art college located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The college was co-founded by Lloyd Kivanue and George Boyce in 1962. It began on the Santa Fe Indian School campus offering a high school program. In 1975, IAIA began offering college-level courses. In 1980, the college moved to the College of Santa Fe. 2 years later, they moved to the new campus on Van Nupo Road. The goal for IAIA is to provide empowerment through education, economic self-sufficiency, expression, and enhancement of artistic culture tradition. What's your name and what tribe are you from?
My name is Topaz Jones. I'm Shoshone, Kalapuya, Molalla, and Lummi.
What drew you to IAIA?
Well, I'm an artist, and I've always been an artist ever since I was a little kid, and I've always loved the arts. And so when I heard of the Institute of American Indian Arts, I thought it was perfect because I love tribal schools as well. And so it combined both the elements, you know, where I can feel comfortable going to school and then also like focus on the arts.
Okay. What tribe and what are you studying your major?
I am from the Mountain Ute tribe, and I am also Dene, and I am double majoring in museum studies and studio arts.
Why did you choose museum studies?
First off, I was originally just a studio arts major, and just this past semester I've added on a double major for museum studies, mainly because I really love kind of gallery installation and gallery prep work and curating, because it's almost like you're kind of bringing your studio arts kind of teachings into a gallery. So it's doing both, which I love. So I was like, why not?
Hello. Do you mind introducing yourself and your tribe?
My name is Robert Martin, and I'm an enrolled member of the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, and I'm president of the Institute of American Indian Arts.
What is something you love about the school?
I think it's the creativity and the talent that the faculty, staff, and students bring to the campus, and as you could see reflected here in the murals, that our students are very creative, very talented, and of course there's a lot of diversity of tribes here, and whether you're interested in Northwest art, Alaska Native art, or Southwest, Midwest, Upper Plains, Lower Southern Plains, East Coast, we have those tribes represented. You can see it reflected in the artwork throughout the campus and on our grounds, and we've made it a point to try to have public art available that reflects the diversity of the tribes, not only in this country, but throughout the world, indigenous peoples.
Okay. All right, that gives you a little bit, oops, sorry.
West wind, blow from your prairie nest, blow from the mountains, blow from the west.
Get rid of these screens here. All right, I'm done, I think. I wanted to share those videos. You're going to have a handout that will ask you to respond in some way to the videos that you watched here. And I will see you tomorrow.